But it is obvious that no Nigerian, from what all available evidences, individually and collectively, Nigerians are in a worse shape than they were in 2015. Now, for me, the most devastating aspect of the damage that the government of of APC, President Buhari, has done is in the area of the political mismanagement of the country. There is something saying that go, seek ye first the political kingdom, and all other things shall be added unto you. The greatest challenging task that Nigerian, anybody, any steward, the stewardship of any government or people in public life, is first and foremost to get Nigeria going as a nation with a unity of purpose, with shared sense of responsibility and commitment. Once you get that wrong, there is nothing you can get right. You've got to have a nation, a country, before you can do all the other tasks. You want to fight corruption, you want to grow the economy, you want to secure the nation, until and unless you are able, to secure the effective political management of the country, all other things will fall flat on their face. So we have seen that, of course, in the past 4 years, how that is working. Now, I'm leading to the question you have asked. This is the damage that the P.D.P is coming to rectify. And this is what qualifies our candidate. Our candidate is one of the few Nigerians that feels at home with every Nigerian. It brings people together. He has a nationalistic and cosmopolitan spirit. Heal wounds and bridge, broken bridges that have been broken.
Yeah,
you will hear, of course, the cliche that Nigeria has not been divided as it is now, ever. So that is the primary task that any government succeeding Buhari will have to confront. Without that, you cannot do any other thing.
Now, the P.D.P has been in power for 16 years.
Yes.
The APC is barely 4 years in power.
Yes.
What are the bases of comparison?
I thought that was what I've been iterating all along. Did we have a divided country under P.D.P?
And it's not the case now either.
What do you mean it's not the case? You have a low-intensity civil war raging all over the country. Go and tell the people of the Middle Belt what you have just said. Or in the people in the Northeast. It's worse, it's even worse. You have a president who is everybody all over the world accuses of parochialism, non-inclusiveness. Look at his government. Is that a government of security, especially the security that a detribalized president of Nigeria will comprise of? Which sector of the society? Which I'm not complaining about the way it's governing. That is the most conspicuous aspect. The most conspicuous aspect of his governance is divisiveness. So I don't know what you are saying that when you say that that's a sharp contrast from where we are coming from.
All right, now let's look at it this way. Even though President Buhari's government receives knocks here and there about how it goes about its functions, we still cannot overwrite the fact that the government has made some progress.
I don't know in what aspect. Can you tell me one aspect in which it has made progress?
Let's look at the fight on corruption.
What a pity. You are here saying that there is no credible international organization, non-partisan, reputable organizations all over the world, whom that is rating economies and societies on corruption, that has not returned a verdict of failure on this government, or being worse than its predecessor. Its predecessor that didn't say that you will not credit, that as a matter of fact they have been maligning. Transparency International rated them worse. We are now turned back. Go and look at the Mo Ibrahim Ratings Agency, the United States annual reports, the Carnegie Foundation, the HSBC, which organization that. So at the rhetorical level, you know, this is one of the things that amazes me about Nigeria. This at the rhetorical level, because he says it and they say it, and people are taking him by it. How does that fit into, even within the government itself?
Okay.
The Minister of State of Petroleum, when was removed from NNPC as GMD, a month later he came out with his letter. I hope you remember the contents of that letter. That's a government fighting corruption back. Look at what they have made of the subsidy thing, and they are all over the place. Look at how he treats members of his government that are accused of corruption. Now, as we speak, his special assistant on corruption, one Obla, was accused publicly by the House of Representatives of forging his certificate almost months ago. With no defense for him, the man is still there. That is a government of anti-corruption. So I'm always, it's laughable, you know, when people say this kind of what we are saying, that in the area of corruption. What way does it, you know, I've told you.
So what score would you give him? Because there's
it's not a score.
There's
I've told you.
Deliberate attempt by this government to fight corruption.
No. What do you mean deliberate? Deliberate attempt to deceive, and unfortunately is succeeding from what you are saying. Look, better people, organizations whose duty it is to rate, who have tremendous thousands, multiplied by thousands capacity to assess more than you and I. They came up with reports on it. You're asking me to grade what do I want to grade? I've told you the ones that are there.
Okay.
I don't look
Okay. Corruption, 0. All right. Diversification of the economy.
Which diversification?
Agriculture.
Which agriculture?
Agriculture. Non-oil exports.
Like which one?
Solid minerals.
Solid mineral. Tell me which solid mineral we are exporting from Nigeria today. Go ahead.
Gold.
No, you are completely wrong. So you are not even aware of what you are saying. Nothing of that has happened in Nigeria. And if you want to credit any government with diversification in the area of agriculture, the government you should credit is Jonathan's government.
Okay.
And it was, it was accomplished by the president, the present president of African Development Bank, Akin, when he was Minister of Agri. He was the one who did 80% of what they are claiming for themselves now. So I don't know what else you want to say. Look, cost-benefit analysis. Look at what they have look at the depth that they have plunged the country back. Now, if you are saying the P.D.P government cancelled the debt of Nigeria, the historic debt cancellation of Nigeria that has accumulated over the years. And you come and look at this government that within 3 years has accumulated another debt over $10 billion. Doing what with it? On top of the revenue it normally accrues to it.
All right, let's go this way. Mr. Akin Osuntokun is a Nigerian political scientist, strategist, researcher, administrator, journalist, and writer with experience in media advocacy, policy research and implementation, and political analysis. He is the former managing director of the News Agency of Nigeria. Osuntokun served as political advisor to former President Olusegun Obasanjo and as the director of the presidential campaign of the People's Democratic Party in 2011. He has sat on the board of several public corporations and also contributes to newspaper columns. See, I understand your bias.
I'm not talking about bias. You have not offered me any objective bias. I'm speaking facts to you which you have not been able to contradict. You are carried away by the rhetoric, and I'm telling you, when you are faced with the evidence, obvious evidences, you are asking me who is biased between you and me. I gave you facts on what is happening.
See,
well, if you rate, are you in a better position to rate this government more than those other organizations? You said I'm biased.
Okay, let me not act as if I'm a spokesperson of the government, but then what is there is there.
What is there? What?
Okay, the CBN Anchor Borrowers project. The CBN Anchor Borrowers project was launched by President Buhari GCFR on November 17, 2015. It is intended to create a linkage between anchor companies involved in processing and smallholder farmers of the key required agricultural commodities. And so many agricultural commodities have been, identified, and huge investments are made in these products by the federal government through the CBN.
You are reading what what they want to
No,
go and look at the campaign promises and manifesto.
Look at what is on ground.
What is on ground, please?
I agree with you.
What is on ground?
You are a spokesperson.
They are commissioning railways, airports, being responsible.
You are a spokesperson of a politician that wants to become president, Atiku. And you are also a politician, but it doesn't mean that we should continue moving in error. Where the government
You are the one moving in error.
No. Where the government has worked,
you tell me you are reading something yourself. If it is that obvious, will you need to be reading from a paper? What come off it, please? You are the one speaking as a spokesman, not me. If the achievement is that obvious, you will not need to look for a paper to read it from.
Okay.
It will you to face it, you will see it in your hand.
Yeah, because I'm not for the government, so
you don't need to be anybody. You are an enlightened. You are a presenter.
Okay,
you should not need to be reading from a text.
Yeah. Let's go this way. Now that you have disputed almost everything that is on paper, from your head, what do you guys intend to do in 2019?
Well, I've told you what we intend to do, and that is the more crucial task facing any incoming government.
It's poorly enumerated.
I'm not probably. I told you the most critical aspect of any nation that wants to develop is a shared sense of
okay,
unity.
Let's
and I'm saying, listen, please let me say that, please, because you don't understand. You don't understand what I'm saying. It's really difficult for you to understand. You need in any way, in any social unit, be it in the family, be it in school, be it in nation, you've got to have a unity of purpose. There's no way you can have a divided country and you are saying you are going to develop. Okay. There's no way you can have a country in which nobody feels any sense of obligation to the alienated from, and you say you want to develop, and you are wanting me to. What is more crucial than that?
There is a popular slogan: P.D.P, share the money.
Please, I can't be responding to such inanities. P.D.P, share the money, and you are saying that I'm not here to talk about frivolities. Which money did PDP share?
I'm talking about the entity you represent.
Which entity? Who said that PDP? Which money? And that is libelous. PDP share the money. Is this a joke or something?
Okay, now let's get it straight up. What do you think Nigerians will gain better when the PDP takes over?
Listen, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Because it seems as if you don't get the point. I can reiterate policy points for you and so on and so forth, which you are obviously, that is what you are used to, and that is what you want.
That's what
platitudes. That's not my job. So you read my profile now, and I'm a student of Nigerian politics, and I want this country to get ahead.
Okay.
What this country is in dire need of is commitment by all Nigerians to Project Nigeria, a sense of unity of purpose, shared commitment to move the country forward. Without that, you cannot do any other thing again. And we have seen evidence of this in the failure of this government. You have a president who himself has a liability, has a baggage of antecedent of division, encouraging the governor of Kaduna State to pick a Muslim running mate, stirring trouble and crisis for the future. Is that how to develop a country? In a volatile, religiously volatile state like that? Are you going to develop a country where people are being slaughtered every day? Houses are being burnt? That's how to develop. What are you going to develop?
Yeah, but if we're talking about who can do the job, why should religion come into the matter?
Why should what?
Religion come into the matter, because...
Exactly, they were the one who brought into it.
Yeah, but if somebody can do the job, why are we looking at his religion? Don't forget in 19...
Please, have you read the Nigerian Constitution?
Hope 93 had
Have you read the Nigerian Constitution?
Hope 93 had a Muslim ticket.
Exactly, not in a situation in which people are being slaughtered. It is insensitive of you and the person who did it. About 2 or 3 weeks ago, you remember what happened there. You remember how the
No,
tragedy, the crisis we are going down,
Mr.
and in
Akin,
that volatile
case.
mix.
That's not the case. Hope 93 in 1993.
There was no problem like that in 1993.
There were.
No, not like this.
There were the 1991 Zangon Kataf crisis in Kaduna State, where
Not,
Christians
you know,
and Muslims were killed.
That was
Before then,
no,
was the 1987 riots in Kafanchan.
No.
Yeah, there were religious
Well, in any case,
sentiments.
that's under a military dictatorship.
No, I'm trying to say there's a
No.
contradiction in what you're saying.
No. If that is the difference between political dictatorship and an elected government. An elected, a military dictatorship came there by its own will, not elected by the people. A government democratically elected must be sensitive to the sensibilities, must at all times. That position of governor is not only a position of governance, it's also a position of political representation, a sense of inclusion. And then you are doing the opposite of what you are required to do in a situation as volatile as that place. What you are required to do is to bring people together. And rather than do that, you are worsening, you are aggravating the situation. How do you get people going like that? So,
in a nutshell, you are saying the Buhari administration has a low all around.
Oh yes, it's not that's not me alone scoring it that. Mo Ibrahim scores not only on corruption but on governance performance. The score of Nigeria is worse than the average of West Africa and Africa as a whole. That is the country that you have. So it's not me. Those are the experts. Those are who compile it. That is their job. That's what they do. Not discussing on radio like that is the job they do from year to year. You go and read the report.
No, I don't want to read anymore.
Well, the rating of Nigeria is worse than the average of West Africa. It was worse than the average of Africa. And corroborates what similar organizations have done. The World Bank, the United States Annual Reports, the Carnegie Foundation, the Transparency International. Can they all be wrong? Are they partisan?
All right, now moving forward, what is the best way out?
You keep on asking this question. The best way out is to vote the people who are doing the damage, to vote them out. That is it. And I've told you as in many words as I can, that the most crucial challenge of any government, not only in Nigeria, it's happening even in the US. When you have a divided society, a polarized society, the first thing the most precious, the most damage is for you to bring people together, to heal wounds, to heal divisions. Or on the contrary, it's not as though this government is not only doing, they are aggravating it by this kind of policy, and from what they do on a daily basis. You have the president declaring, launching his campaign, and the service chiefs were there. The way they subvert state institutions, as we speak, he has not signed the electoral bill, and you are going to have an election in 3 months' time, just because you are looking for a partisan advantage for yourself. So the way out, of course, that's what I've done. What's more, election gives you the opportunity to change whoever is not doing, whichever government is doing badly. And as I said, all over the world, elections, presidency is also a referendum on their performance. That's why I'm laying emphasis on their performance. And then we have facts. We have reports in support of what I'm saying. And as I said, look, I told you, ask an average Nigerian, not only me. Are you better off now than what you were 4 years ago? There has been a cliche, going around in the past 4 years that we don't want change. Don't take us back to where we were. I'm sure you will have seen it all over the place.
All right. Let me quote you somewhere about Obasanjo. Obasanjo's presidency was like a national rainbow. On a daily basis, you see people from different tribes on the dining table with him discussing national issues. He fostered the spirit of brotherhood.
That is precisely what I'm saying. That is precisely what I'm saying. Because that why you are saying it is because it's important to me.
Yeah, but
and it's
what
important
makes
to
you
the country.
think it is not the same? Since obviously you have no access
Exactly.
to the
Go. I don't know. No. Look at the composition of his government. Look at it. People complain every day. Can't let the worst aspect is that people will go to him to complain, whether it is can, even from abroad, and he will say, "Look, I will look into it." Of course, he does nothing. Look at the director of at DSS. Look at what he did there. Laura, somebody, of course, he couldn't have removed Daura, but good enough, somebody who could removed him. And then the most senior officer, who was still in service, right, was asked to go on the, and these people came, and people have been speculating that the way this government behaves, they are going to remove this man and put somebody again from their captive from their constituency, and that is precisely what happened. They went less than 2 months, go and pick somebody from retirement because he comes from Kano and is a Muslim. And this is what we have all over the place. Look at the NIA. It seems as if they are not even satisfied. Anytime there's an opportunity to correct that impression, they do worse.
See, you are a writer, a journalist, and I've had the opportunity to advise a former president, Obasanjo, as a political advisor. You know the problems any given president can have with his parliament. Now, if we are talking about Atiku Abubakar now coming in 2019, how can Atiku in practical terms implement what he intends in his policies? Since you already know that there are clogs.
Like what?
He's been going around town talking about restructuring, and you and I know very well that restructuring is the job of the parliament.
No.
How is he going to get around it?
No, it's not the job of the parliament. It's a job of other men. It's not inclusive, not only parliament, Nigerians especially anyway, and of course the president, right? And it's also, there are different approaches you can have to restructuring. In any case, a president in a presidential system of government actually leads the agenda. You set the agenda and you lead it, right? When you come up with that kind of agenda, you have the capacity. If you are elected on the basis of winning the majority vote, on the basis of being supported by many Nigerians, you have that capacity to drive it, right? You mentioned the National Assembly, or whether or not the National. Well, if you want to amend the Constitution, it's not only the National Assembly. You also need 2/3 of the State Assembly on board. Now, a government, a president, you need to convince many Nigerians, even those who are not part of the immediate. It is winning converts almost on a daily basis. The point that you need to do is to tell people that, look, you are not doing it to satisfy any particular person. It's to sell it as a neutral agenda. That this is not an agenda of the Southwest or the South. It's good for the country.
You have to cut the rhetoric.
Let me.
You have to cut the rhetoric. Simple question,
What?
Simple answer. How is Atiku going to implement these policies in practical terms, especially as it comes to restructuring, which is
You ask a
ideally
question.
the parliament? No, you are taking it all around.
You ask a
all day to
question
talk
and I
about
will be
it.
answering it, and you are, look, you can't impose your own limited understanding on me. It's not only the parliament that can do it.
Who else?
The country.
How?
The country. Why do you go
Do we
around
have
the
a provision for a
You go
referendum?
around that wait. You go around to mobilize the country. The country, will tell their legislators, this is what you want. A legislator votes on those kind of things in consultation with his constituency. Somebody elected the senator or the House of Rep or whatever, somebody elected them there. If you are going to have a fundamental political change like that, you go back there, you go back to your constituency. They are the one who will tell you what to do. They are not dictators. They were elected. Their power goes back to it. So that's what you do. So if you want to lead an agenda like that, if you are not passing an electricity bill, you are not passing a salary increase bill, you want to do a fundamental restructuring, that kind of process requires a lot more than you are talking about. And the most fundamental aspect is to convince people.
I like your evasiveness. I'm going to open up the lines.
I'm not, please don't use such words for me. I don't evade. You are the one, you don't have a limited understanding, and I'm educating you. You said I'm evading.
What do we do when in this government you make a move, they say he's a looter. You make another move, they say he's a thief. What is the PDP doing to dissuade Nigerians from believing them?
From what?
From believing what the government is, or the name calling that they've so been bashed with in this government.
Well, through this kind of forum, that's what I'm doing, through the media, through the mass media. I hope I've been able to correct some of the, or explain or clarify, the misrepresentations. Look, cliches and sloganeering is nothing, it's not, and selective anti-corruption fight, it is itself corruption. The moment you leave a P.D.P to go to APC, you are sanctified. Omisore, who helped them during the sham Osuntokun election, was given his passport immediately to travel abroad. There are many people who have had their passports seized for the past 10 years. You see the former governor of Akwa Ibom State, with all the corruption thing that is happening, immediately he said he was going to APC. He became Buhari's darling all over the place. So, and of course, there are so many of them like that all over the places. And when you speak that, when you say that they call P.D.P looters, you also have to remember that half of APC is P.D.P, that they are combined. Amechi was a P.D.P governor for 8 years. So they are members of their government who half of that government came from P.D.P. So in a way, you are indicting yourself. They are indicting themselves. And that is the truth. So maybe, people just speak without really taking into consideration the logic of what they are saying. Nigeria is going through a trauma, right? And it has gone to such a magnitude that we now think that bloodletting is normal. We are being dismissive of what people are going through. The thing that we need, every Nigerian we should look up to in 2019 is a reversal of this trend. A week ago, over 100 soldiers were slaughtered by this same Boko Haram that the last speaker was talking about that has been defeated. The same thing in Zamfara State. I don't need to talk about all over the place. Almost on a daily basis, you have thousands. A former chief of army staff of this country, a respected statesman, T.Y. Danjuma, came up to make the same allegation that this government was complicit in the killings of the people. Would Danjuma have said that if he doesn't have an evidence of it? Then he came, but as I said, look, the most important task of any government, but much so, especially now, is bringing people to your country together. Is uniting people, your country. The moment you don't have a shared vision or a shared sense of purpose, you are not going anywhere. We have not even started. It's even getting worse. There is secessionist whatever in the east. You have people here, and then restructuring is not the way. It's not a no. Look, the thing is, and one of the speakers was quite intelligent. Is a president who drives the process. The sense is that a president who is elected by majority in the country is likely to have enough members in the National Assembly to drive whatever agenda that he wants to. But I was making the most important point, which you seem not to have agreed. As a matter of fact, if you pursue restructure, that is the best way to pursue it. Take it back to the people. Look, in the democracies that we are copying, whenever you have this kind of issues coming up, I know, whenever you have this kind of issues, you go back to your constituency. It's just like this referendum of Brexit. You go back to the people. It's not even if it's a very consequential policy decision, You need to renew that mandate all over again.
All
So,
right,
but
thank you very much.